It's good to see you. Daniel, why don't we start with you? Now, you said recently that you're settling into the car at McLaren quicker than at previous teams. Why do you think that is?
Could just be as simple as experience. But yeah, I mean, I felt like, yeah, maybe it is experience, but I certainly put in the work in the preseason, and obviously we couldn't drive really at all or much, but just learning as much as I could about my environment, you know, the cockpit, the steering wheel, all those things, so that when I did finally sit in the seat, I was like, okay, I know where everything is now. And yeah, just had a lot of calls with, you know, the engineers as well to get familiar with like tone of voice and maybe what vocabulary we would use on track for, yeah, things like that. So I won't give it all away, but experience, let's just say that.
Now, Fernando Alonso has just told us that there's more to come from him. Is there more to come from you in terms of getting used to the car and the team?
Yes, there is. And actually, I'd probably say that even if I'd been with a team for 5 years, you know, I feel like F1 is probably a sport which will never quite perfect as a driver. You know, there's always something that you feel you can do better or nail. So, but yeah, I think with me now, within this car, it's I think, let's say, I've found the limit on occasions, but I probably haven't been there enough to, let's say, get comfortable at the limit. So it's just trying to just nudge it a few more times and then get comfortable at that level. So that's probably those last few percent, which will take, I guess, it'll keep coming with time, and every lap I turn, I think that will get better and better.
And let's throw it forward to this weekend. What are your expectations?
An underlayer, t-shirt, long sleeve, jumper, jacket, and I'll probably ditch the hat for a beanie. It's cold, and yeah, other than that, hopefully another trophy. I did like the one here last year. It was quite nice, but I don't know, we'll see. I mean, obviously it looks like wet. I say obviously, for people who don't know, Sunday looks wet at this stage. It might be the only wet day of the weekend, so yeah, you know, Friday, Saturday will be one story, but then Sunday is going to be a roll of the dice.
And do you welcome wet weather? Do you think it increases your chances of getting on that podium?
Probably. I think it increases the chances of anything can happen. And yeah, you know, I don't think we're slow in the dry at all, so I think we can be competitive in the dry. But the wet probably does open up a few more opportunities.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Nicholas, coming to you. Now, you ran as high as 6th at this race last year. So tell us about this year's car and what we can expect from you this weekend.
Well, I think largely just, you know, there are a lot of similarities to last year's car. So as this was a track that we did perform well at, well, out of all the tracks on the calendar, it was one of the stronger ones. So I am optimistic coming into this weekend to have a better performance, better feeling in the car than we had out in Bahrain. Bahrain was a tricky one for many different reasons, obviously the wind being a big part for us, and just the whole weekend really struggled to, you know, get comfortable kind of the setup, my driving, finding consistency. So yeah, coming here, it was one of the tracks that had my highest finishing position. So yeah, I'm kind of just, you know, hopefully optimistic to kind of see really a truer read of how the car will be for the rest of the season, you know, if we do get some stable conditions. And yeah, just hoping to move a bit further up the grid.
Doesn't sound like we're going to get stable conditions if Daniel's right about the forecast. But where do you feel this car has improved over last year?
To be honest, it's, I think, still too early to say. You know, the obvious thing is I think we did make some improvements over the winter. The car is less draggy than last year, which is nice. It was one of our weaknesses. But in terms of, you know, kind of pure handling, balance characteristics, things like that, you know, having only had the driving in Bahrain, in which both the one day of testing and whole race weekend was extremely tricky with the wind conditions. It's too early to say what is better. So hoping to have a better answer for that after after Friday and Saturday.
Okay. Well, look, guys, let's see what answer you've got for this. It's a fan question. It's from Carlo. Take a listen.
Hello, guys. My name is Carlo. My question is, what is your secret passion? For example, a hobby. Good luck for the race. Goodbye.
Okay. Who's going to start there? Daniel.
Secret passion? Is that
Yeah,
what is
like
your
a hobby?
Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. What is your secret passion? For example, a hobby.
I mean, I love bikes. You know, like my favorite thing to do in the off season is ride. Typically, like, you know, dirt bikes and anything on two wheels, because it's still with an engine, so it gives me certainly a rush, but it's something that I'm definitely not as good at as opposed to four wheels. But there's that fascination of learning and wanting to get better. So yeah, I've always liked bikes, and I try to ride when I can. So that's it's probably not a secret passion. I think probably most people know, but if I stopped racing today, then I would probably devote the same amount of time to getting better on two wheels.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say I have any secret passions. I have a few other things, hobbies that I like to do that don't really get the time to anymore. I mean, I'm a big fan of basketball. It's my favorite sport next to racing. I did manage to actually shoot a few hoops yesterday. The hotel Matt had a basketball court, and surprised myself with how bad I was after having not shot a basketball for many, many months. So yeah, but besides that, I mean, I had my, I go in and out of phases where I get into my gaming, Call of Duty, things like that, but honestly haven't played in quite a long time. But yeah, nothing too out there, nothing really secretive.
Great, thank you. Look, while we're talking about extracurricular stuff, let's go to this video question from Matthias Brunner, please.
Matthias Brunner, speedweek.com. Daniel, you live up to the diversity slogan of Formula One completely, with a ride being offered in Dale Earnhardt's old car and a possible Bathurst supercar drive on the horizon. Now, NASCAR, if you could, which track would you like to drive on? And supercar, are we talking here about a test or a race?
All right, I'll answer the first one. So NASCAR, I mean, the oval, let's say a dream would be to do Daytona, but I think it would scare the hell out of me. So probably something more like a Bristol or a Martinsville, a nice little short track. And, well, I mean, otherwise it's a road course, but like a Watkins Glen. But I think, yeah, probably let's say Bristol. And supercars, I mean, the race would be cool, but I think just to drive one of those cars in anger around Bathurst, that would give me enough of a thrill. So if I got to compete, even better. But just give me a few laps by myself at Mount Panorama, and I'll be happy.
Thank you. Let's go to the video conference now. Let's kick things off with Chris Medland, please, from Racer.
Thank you, Tom. It's a question for Daniel. Daniel, you were very vocal about F1's broadcasting approach of Roman's crash at the end of last year. And a recent interview quoted you as calling those who run the social media channels, and I quote, fucking idiots, for highlights lists featuring a number of crashes. I know you had a meeting in Bahrain last year about the Roman stuff, but has anything happened since then? Or will you talk to F1 again about your concerns?
Yeah, I don't think I ever said that. No, I certainly got to be better with my choice of words. So yeah, that I certainly, if I could, let's say, take that quote back, I would. It was too aggressive. I should know better, I think, as well, being in the sport probably as long as I have. And even if I feel at the time it might be out of context, I know that it's going to get pushed, and so I should do better with that. So I think taking that, let's say, direct comment away from it I guess what I'm trying to get at is I feel like, so last year, as an example, I felt last year was such an amazing year for F1. Like there was so many different podium getters. There was a lot of exciting races. I certainly wouldn't put it under a boring season. And I just felt like there was probably more room to, like expose the highs of the sport and let's say the great achievements of, a lot of individual drivers and individual performances, and whether some spectacular overtakes or, I felt like there was better stories to be told as opposed to just crashes. And I think, and this is obviously my opinion, but I feel our sport is better than that. I feel like we're better than just showing crashes. And I think there's whether it's other categories or other types of sport or disciplines to kind of show that, I would say, that level of highlights. That's again my opinion, but I feel we're above that, and I feel like we are the most talented drivers in the world, and we're driving these amazing cars. So normally a crash is showing less of our talents, and it's I don't know. I just feel it's probably the way the sport's perceived, and we are perceived as drivers. We absolutely make mistakes, but I would probably highlight the highs more if I had creative control. But I don't know if every other driver feels like that, but obviously it's how I feel. And but I would, let's say if I could, I've apologized, but I would obviously take back that, let's say at least the language from those comments. But yeah, that was overall my opinion of what I would do if I had a chance to direct it a little bit.
Thank you. Let's go next to Scott Mitchell from The Race, please.
Thank you. It's a question for Daniel as well. Actually, I was going to ask the same thing, but I just wondered on the same topic, Daniel. When something like that happens, you said obviously too aggressive, take it back. Now, when that stuff comes out, how quickly are you made aware of how much it's gained traction, and do you look at it and go, I've just got caught up in the moment, or not? They've not necessarily captured your tone if you said it like with a bit of a laugh or a joke, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's certainly the. The first thing I saw it was getting a little bit of traction, and that's the first thing. You kind of get on the defense, and you're like, oh, but it was in this tone, and there was a bit of a giggle afterwards. So it's like, but it doesn't come across like that. But again, that's where I've done this long enough, and I've been in front of, media long enough that I should just know that if you do say something, it can be. So I'm not denying that I said it, but obviously the tone doesn't always get shown as maybe it was in that moment. And it could just be me as well. Like sometimes I might just get too comfortable with whoever maybe is conducting the interview, and I might just take it a little lightly. So, but I was made aware of it, and then obviously as it started to gain traction, I was like, I don't want to attack too much, but I think it's just important that what I feel gets across, and it's not just me abusing them. At least I want them to remove that part, if you know what I mean, but at least understand what I was trying to say. But so let's say I keep my opinion of what I think can be improved, but I'll say it kinda.
All right, and we've got time for one more question.
Is kinda a word, actually? Kinda is a word? Okay.
Kinda, yes.
Okay.
Daniel, we've got time for one more question. It's to you. It's from Louis Decker at NOS. And he says, were you surprised Max gave back the position to Lewis after radio contact with the team? Because in the past, he didn't always follow such orders.
I don't know. It's easy. It's easy in hindsight. I think if it's for the win, just go for it. I think if Max, I haven't heard Max today. I'm sure he's been asked about it, but I guess if he's answering it now, I would say he's probably saying I should have just kept going. It's weird because you could. People were using that line, so kind of like it was for the lead, and I don't know. It was certainly. If it was me right now, knowing what I know, I'm going sailing off into the sunset.
All right, guys, that's all we got time for. Thanks for your time. Good luck this weekend, and we apologise for some of the language used during that section.
Damn it, Chris.